Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adonis podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about movies. We got a new episode of The Boys that came out today. Euphoria, a new episode came out last Sunday. And Euphoria is probably one of the most controversial shows of all time. Now, let's break it down. Primarily, Euphoria is going crazy right now because of something that Cassie said. Cassie, who is played by Sydney Sweeney. In this episode, Cassie becomes a major-time OnlyFans influencer, and she goes on a podcast, and she starts to... Now, this is probably the only time I actually agree with Cassie. She starts to talk about how men are now starting to be oppressed in America, and men should have the freedom to say that, if he wants a girl who can cook and clean, he should be allowed to do that and not be forced to oppress his opinions. And the interviewer said, "Well, you sound like a Democrat," to which Cassie responded, "I'm not retarded." So, of course, the whole internet went crazy with a bunch of stupid MAGA cunts claiming that Euphoria was for conservatives, and the liberals whining that it's clearly a conservative show. Now, there is a lot of controversy within the Euphoria universe, and that's what makes it so likable, because one could argue that it's more conservative-based because now we know Cassie's political alliance. However, Jules, who's one of the main characters, is literally a tranny woman. And I would argue that certain parts of Euphoria seasons 1 through 2 were quite woke, especially Carl, the father of Nate Jacobs, being not only a sex addict, but also a pedophile and eventually a registered sex offender. So, Euphoria is not everyone's cup of tea because it's a very graphic show. I've always liked it because, for starters, I like graphic content, but my kind of graphic content is more violence-based and not necessarily sex and taking drugs and those kind of things. But the reason why Euphoria hits so hard for me is because it shows you exactly what happens in the real world when you take drugs, when you make a habit of over-drinking every night, when you have no discipline and you just party all the time and you just do whatever you want to. And I've seen this firsthand, and so I was actually really excited when they announced that Cassie was going to be playing an OnlyFans model, because so far in the past 2 seasons, Euphoria has done a really good job portraying what happens in the real world when you go through a bad path, like being a drug addict, being a fucking sex addict, I would say that the top 3 things that young people do that are harmful to them is alcohol, drugs, and sex. And Euphoria incorporates all of that and shows you, like, hey, these are the consequences. And they make it very entertaining. And that's why I always liked it, because there was a lot of realism to it, and it was not afraid to be intense, and it was not afraid to show you what actually happens. And I know this is what actually happens because I've seen it with my own eyes. It's happened to people I know. That's a subject for another episode. Now, I've been talking against OnlyFans girls and porn in general for quite a while, so I was really excited to see Cassie become an OnlyFans model, because that's another line of work that can be very dangerous. It's definitely very destructive, and I was interested to see how they would portray that. And a lot of OnlyFans girls in real life, including Sophie Rain, are getting pissed off. That's how you know they're doing the show right. When real-life OnlyFans girls are getting upset at the way that an OnlyFans model is portrayed, that's how you know they're fucking doing it right. Now, don't get me wrong, this show still has some disturbing scenes with Cassie in it. Primarily Cassie dressing up as a dog, dressing up as a baby. But that's definitely something that's real, because there's definitely girls that dress like dogs on OnlyFans. I don't know if you're allowed to dress up as a baby on OnlyFans, but you can definitely do it on Pornhub, and I'm sure there's a million other porn sites you can do that on. And so it's not just focused on OnlyFans, it's focused on the porn industry in general. Now, everyone seems to be focused so much on hating Cassie. And I think it's because people don't like Sydney Sweeney. And it's very unreasonable the way they're treating Sweeney right now, because Sweeney, all she did was make a jeans ad that was not political at all, but the left had to be triggered by something. So apparently being a jean model now makes you a Nazi. Somebody looked her up, did a deep search, found out that her political alliance was with the Republican Party. And then everyone lost their fucking minds. But here's the thing, if you pay attention, when have you even heard Sweeney talk about politics? I have never heard that woman talk about politics. It seems that she's just focused on her work. Honestly, it seems that she's more interested in being a slut than anything. I mean, you look up any picture of her, she constantly has her jugs out. And if you look at any of her movies, with the exception of, like, Madam Web, she, once again, always has those honkers out just ready to flash the audience. So I think people are just looking for something to be mad about when it comes to Sweeney or when it comes to characters that she plays like Cassie. Euphoria is basically, at times it feels like, one giant fucking porn show. I can guarantee you, because especially in the last two or the first two seasons, there was so much sex. And they showed it, and they showed it hard. There were boobs, there were dicks, there were more dicks than boobs, which is something that I personally found very disturbing. I can guarantee you that there is some motherfucker in his basement right now, or in his bedroom, and all he does is he puts on Euphoria, and he just jerks off to the entire show. Because there is that much nudity, like, certain episodes felt like straight up porn. But it's still something that I felt that I could watch because there's still a storyline to it, and it's like, sex isn't the only focus on the show, but it is incorporated into it because it shows what happens when someone is a fucking sex addict, which is bad. Having sex within itself is not bad, but I can tell you from things that I have witnessed in the real world, someone who has sex, on occasion with, a solid partner when they're not hopping around from hoe to hoe or from guy to guy, they tend to be more mentally stable than the motherfucker who's just hooking up just for the sake of hooking up, who just wants to get his body count up, who is a sex addict. It's really not good to be an addict in anything in life, unless you're addicted to success. That's good, obviously. But when it comes to being a sex addict, yeah, you don't want to do that. You're just disgusting. And then when people become sex addicts, they can't ever act fucking normal, too. They start making sex jokes at every turn. Normal human sex is like, okay, like you pick a position, you stick your dick in her vag, whatever. But then these fucking sex addicts, they watch Pornhub all day, and then they want their girl like, oh yeah, I want you to do acrobats on my dick. And I want you to vomit while you're blowing me, and I want you to lick my toes. And they just get into all this weird shit. And they're so comfortable talking about it. I'm like, bro, you are genuinely disgusting. You're a disgusting piece of shit. And so, that is definitely another disturbing thing in this latest season of Euphoria. Probably more disturbing than Nate Jacobs getting his toe ripped off twice, by the way, is seeing Cassie put her fucking foot in her mouth. I will never fucking... But then again, this is something that I like about Euphoria because it's just the realism of the real world, is there are people who are obsessed with feet. I will never understand how someone can be sexually or in any sense attracted to a fucking foot. It's a fucking foot. You see a foot and you say, oh, that's so sexy, I want that in my mouth. What's next? Are y'all gonna be attracted to fucking hands? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? The stupid world we live in. But every character, listen, everyone's saying that like, oh, Cassie, she's such a bad person. It's Euphoria. Everyone's a bad person. Maddie is a fucking she's a selfish, narcissistic scam artist who quite literally uses her friends, as she's using Cassie right now. Rue is a fucking drug addict and a dumb piece of shit. Let's keep in mind in the very first episode, she got her car stuck on a fucking bridge. And don't even get me on that, not a bridge, it was a fence, but don't even get me started on that interrogation scene. Bro, this woman could not lie to save her fucking life. Have you ever been to Mexico? Mexico? I don't think so. Okay, so if we had a picture of you in Mexico, what would you say? I mean, I don't know how that's possible, because I don't think you... Bitch, just say you've never been to fucking Mexico before. It is not that fucking hard. Even the cops were like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Because they use an example like, so if you say to me, if there's a picture of me on the moon, what am I going to say? No, that's impossible because I've never been to the moon before. Like, it's not like if you ask me, hey, which Target location have you been to? Have you been to the one on this street or that street? And I'm not sure because all Targets are fucking the same. If you ask me, hey, have you been to this country? I can say with absolute certainty whether I've been to this country or not. It is not that fucking hard. And it is not that hard to lie either. They probably would have busted her ass anyway because cops were trained to detect liars and break that down and study human psychology and shit like that. But bro, she didn't even try to sound legit. That was fucking ridiculous. Jules is a fucking tranny hoe. Let's not even get started with Jules. Jules is also leeching. She's leeching off of some sugar daddy. Okay. Rue is the manager at a fucking strip club. Almost every character in Euphoria is involved in some line of sex work. Now, my favorite character in Euphoria, honestly, because no one in Euphoria is fucking likable. Oh, and also keep in mind, in the last season, that fat bitch became a porn star at fucking 16. My favorite character in Euphoria has always been Lexi. Because she's kind of quiet, everyone else between Cassie and Maddie and just the whole group in general, they're all attention whores. They all stir up drama. They all want to be the center of attention. Lexi was kind of more quiet and reserved. She's more modest. Honestly, the only thing that I don't like about her is the fact that she's an atheist fucking bitch. And she claims that Christians are too judgmental when she herself, this is the irony of that whole statement. Oh, I'd never be friends with the Christian because they're judgmental. Okay, your best friend Rue is literally a drug addict. She went from being a drug addict to a drug mule. Now she's involved in a fucking strip club, which is sex work, which I know for a fact Lexi is against. And you're saying, oh yeah, Christians aren't judgmental. You yourself are judging Christians by making that statement that all Christians are judgmental. So there's so much irony in that statement and so much hypocrisy in that statement that, oh, I'd never be friends with a Christian because they're judgmental. That being said, Lexi is probably the most sane person. She's probably the only person with a brain. And I can also kind of relate to her, too, because she's trying to do things the right way. She's trying to be the good person in life. And then people like Cassie, she just flashes her tits and she becomes so famous that she's being recognized everywhere. And people are finding stupid ways to make easy money. And everyone who's doing things wrong is living this lavish life while Lexi's trying to be the good person and do things the right way. And she's constantly getting fucked over. But she also needs to put her foot down and stop allowing her sister and her friends to stop using her. Second favorite character would be Cassie. Cassie is definitely annoying, I will admit that. But out of all the characters, she's probably the least problematic next to Lexi. Because she doesn't necessarily... Now, yes, she is whiny and she is complaining and she is retarded as fuck. She's MAGA, but she's retarded. And she's a fucking porn star. But she doesn't... Cassie gets into trouble because she's stupid, not necessarily because she's looking for trouble. People like Maddie and Rue and... I feel like I'm missing some important names here, but they actively stir up drama. Like, for example, Maddie's a drama queen. She actively stirs up drama. Jules is a fucking drama queen or king because Jules is technically a guy. They stir up drama. They love drama. They're also attention whores. They make everything about themselves. Rue is not so much an attention whore. And she's definitely retarded as well. But Rue and Cassie are retarded in different ways. Rue and Cassie are... See, Cassie's retarded because those blonde roots are basically sucking the oxygen out of her brain. While Rue knows she's retarded. And yet she continues to choose to be retarded anyway. Like, there's a difference. Like, Cassie's retarded and she's unaware of the fact that she's retarded. Rue is retarded and is aware of the fact that she's retarded, but decides to continue being retarded anyway and not change anything about it. And so, Rue, everyone likes Rue for some reason. I can't fucking stand that cunt. I genuinely hope she dies in the next episode. I can't fucking stand Rue. And that Godzilla scene where Cassie grows 10 feet tall in that fever dream or whatever the fuck that was. That scene I thought was so unnecessary. And then I saw an interview with the director of Euphoria saying that, like, that set took them, like, a year to build. So you wasted a whole year building a set for a scene that was completely unnecessary, by the way. Have you ever heard of CGI? You could have saved yourself so much time and money for a completely unnecessary thing. The only good thing about that scene was the very end where Sweeney takes out her tits and busts through the glass window. Now, let's all admit here, we're all men here, okay? I don't care what your religion is, put your fucking stupid ideologies and your modesty and your bullshit religion aside. Let's just take a minute to appreciate Sydney Sweeney's amazing tits. Only a gay man can truthfully say that he's not attracted to Sydney Sweeney. And then again, how the fuck do homosexuals exist when people like Sweeney exist? Like, how do you look at fucking Sweeney, who has literally everything? She's got the perfect hourglass waist, she's got ginormous honker, she's got golden blue eyes, like the color of a fucking crystal lake. She's got golden blonde hair, perfect creamy white skin. She's basically the woman of every man's fantasies. Like, this is what our dream woman is since we're like fucking 2 years old. And some gay-ass homosexual nigger motherfucker looks at Sweeney or Megan Fox or any of these sex icons and goes, yeah, nah, I'd rather stick my cock in some guy's ass instead. Like, genuinely, what is wrong with you? If you start paying attention to the men who are gay, you will notice that they all have one thing in common. And that is, they are all weird as fuck. They are weirdos, they are weird as fuck. And I am actually glad that there are no homosexuals in Euphoria. With the exception of Carl, ass fucking guys, and Nate Jacobs having a dick problem. Now, Nate Jacobs is my least favorite character in the show because he's a whiny little bitch. You're telling me that the mafia showed up to your wedding and then showed up to your house, beat you, beat your wife, cut off a toe, and then a week later they came back, ripped off your toe again, and then cut off a finger? Bro, he doesn't even try to fight. He just sits there and takes it like a little bitch. I'm like, bro, what kind of man are you? And then, see, here's the thing. So, he lied to Cassie to make it seem like he was some successful businessman. He's not. He's dirt poor. He's deep in debt. He owes millions of dollars to the mafia, which are the worst people to owe money to. Cassie becomes an OnlyFans creator. At first because she wants to, but then later on, if you've been keeping up with the show, you know it's because she has no choice, because Nate got them both into some deep-ass shit. Now, this is something else that I found out about as well, is because a lot of these OnlyFans girls get into OnlyFans, not necessarily because it's their dream job to, but because they're stuck in a situation where they kind of have to, and they see no other way out, which is kind of what Cassie did. And at that point, I get that because, you know, the mafia is trying to fucking kill you. Desperate times call for desperate measures. If Nate was a real man, first of all, he would have at least attempted to fight back when the mafia fucking showed up to his fucking house and shoved his wife's face into the floor and made her bleed. Like, what kind of man just sits there and watches his wife get beat and doesn't even get the slightest bit pissed off? But then, it's like, bro, you should be working every single day to make money, to go do something with your life. Instead, after that Congress meeting, he cries in public like a little baby. And then instead of going to apply to the nearest McDonald's or construction site or something, he just sits at home, he leaves the house a mess, and he pimps out his wife, or, well, it's technically Maddie pimping her out, but he lets his wife be a fucking prostitute and leeches off of her, and she sends him the money, and then he doesn't even bother to pay off his bills to the mafia. He waits for them to cut off his finger, and as they're doing it, wait a minute, I have the money, I have the money, I have the money. Nigger, you should have given them the money before they showed up to your house, because, let me explain it now, the mafia, they're not always reasonable people. But if I lent money to somebody and they hadn't paid it back, and then they make a payment of, in this case, $35,000, that would show me that, hey, you're making an effort to pay me back, versus he gets $35,000, first thing he does is put on the music and having a little dance party with the fucking house a fucking wreck. Then when the mafia shows up, then he says, oh, now I have the money. Like, bro, you're not fooling anyone, bro. And this is so different from the Nate Jacobs that we knew in seasons 1 and 2, where he was basically a bully to everyone. And Nate Jacobs, he honestly reminds me a lot of Fraternity Brothers, and the way Fraternity Brothers act, some of them. Now, with Fraternity Brothers, it's either you're a fucking faggot who looks like a twig and you get no bitches, or you're a chihuahua pretending to be a wolf, acting like a Nate Jacobs type person, acting like you're all cool and hot shit, and acting intimidating, and pretending you get bitches, but in reality, you get no bitches. Frat guys have got to be the lamest cunts in all of existence. But it also goes to show you how fake they are. Let me tell you something, the guy who goes out of his way to show how tough he is, as frat guys and high school jocks tend to do, they are often the least toughest motherfuckers on the fucking planet. And so yeah, Nate Jacobs turned out to be a little bitch. In other news, the second to last episode of The Boys Season 5 just came out, and I saw it, and I was quite disappointed. Now, everyone's been complaining about The Boys Season this year. I personally haven't had a problem with it until the last episode, because it kind of feels like, well, we only have one episode left, and that episode's going to be an hour long, and there is still so much shit going on that they cannot possibly wrap up in one episode. And so, especially with the next episode being in theaters, it feels like The Boys is heading to exactly where Stranger Things did. That being said, I will not be going to the theater to see The Boys. It's like, bro, what the fuck am I paying a Prime subscription for? So I can pay like $21 a month, and I get... Listen, let me tell you something. Let's just rank the streaming services really quick. Prime is my favorite streaming service of all time, because I get everything on there. In the rare instance that I want to watch something and they don't have it on Prime, I can buy it for like $3. And because I'm a Prime member, I also get a discount on my HBO and Paramount subscription. Disney Plus is good to like binge watch Marvel. That's pretty much all I use Disney Plus for, is to keep up with like the Marvel shows like Daredevil and Punisher, or if I'm in the mood to rewatch. So for example, I just rewatched all the Iron Man movies just because I felt like it. And like, you can't get that on Prime, so it makes sense to have a Disney Plus subscription. Netflix fucking sucks. We should sign a petition to put Netflix out of fucking business, because they don't have anything good on their platform anymore, and in the rare instance they do, they fucking take it off. Like, they put up okay, let's just use Rush Hour for an example. They put up Rush Hour, right? And they leave it up there for about a month, and then they take it off. Or, this is another thing that they do. Let's use a different franchise. Let's say Jurassic World, because this is something that they currently put up there. Let's say, we're not going to include Jurassic Park. Let's just, because there's, I think, 4 or 5 Jurassic World movies altogether. So let's just say they're uploading the Jurassic World movies. They will upload 2, 3, and 4. And it's like, well, shit, well, now I got to go watch part 1 somewhere else because I want to binge watch this, but y'all started off with 2. Okay. Next month, they take down 2, 3, and 4, and then they upload Jurassic World 1. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Genuinely, how the fuck is Netflix still in business? People just love raw dogging their shit. Like, bro, Netflix fucking sucks. And it has sucked for years now. When was the last time they had something good? The last good show on Netflix that I remember was Cobra fucking Kai. Because Stranger Things was great, and then they screwed it up with the last season. Their original shows, like Rookie Cop or whatever the fuck is on Netflix now, fucking suck. Outer Banks is good, but that only comes out like once every 2 years. And they're probably going to screw up the next season like they do with the last season of all their original shows that actually are good. And then the good shit, they just take it down. I mean, I like Cobra Kai and Wednesday and Outer Banks, but shit, I can only rewatch it so many times before I'm like, alright, I've had enough. But yeah, fuck Netflix. Prime is subscription number 1. Disney Plus, I put that at number 2. I don't really like Disney, but if you want to watch old school Marvel, you don't really have a workaround for that. Now, what was I getting to? Oh, yes, the boys. So I'm paying about $21 a month for Prime, and I can get unlimited shows, movies. I get, it's tied into my same-day delivery Prime deal. It's tied into my music deal. All that for only $21. And you're trying to convince me to go to the theater to see The Boys and spend, I don't know, $20 a ticket, and then $20 on popcorn, and then $10 for a drink to see the last episode, which is probably going to be absolute shit? Go fuck yourself. Go take a knife and shove it up your ass and go fuck yourself. Now, as far as the character deaths are concerned, everyone got mad at Frenchie because apparently the actor was involved in something political. I didn't bother to look at the details of it. But now that Frenchie's dead, now everyone's sad. It's like, oh, so now there's a switch up, okay? Because just last week, everyone was saying, oh, I hate Frenchie, I hate Frenchie. I hated Frenchie too, but not because I hated the actor. I hate Frenchie. You know why I hate Frenchie? And I was glad to see him die? It's because Frenchie is a whiny little bitch. Every scene he's in his little French stupid accent, all he does is, oh, Kamiko, I love you so much, oh, Kamiko, you mean the world to me, oh, Kamiko, Kamiko, Kamiko. First of all, Kamiko is an ugly-ass agent. Secondly, stop being a fucking simp. Like, she already likes you, bro. Like, stop with this romantic, cheesy bullshit. Every single time I see Frenchie on the scene, see, Kamiko I can stand. Because Kamiko, while she is in love with Frenchie, she's not as obsessed with Frenchie as he is with her. Like, Frenchie has made his entire personality just simping for Kamiko, and that's it. He literally died simping for her. And the other thing that I didn't like, too, is why didn't they bother to show Homelander killing Frenchie? We see them in a confrontation, then we see Homelander fly away, and then in the next scene, we see Frenchie bleeding out. So, how did Homelander kill him? Did he crush a ribcage? Did he do one of those Viltrumite stabs? Did he laser you? Like, what happened? You show every other death. Why not this one? And the Deep genuinely sucks. People like to call him the Peak, everyone. See, I have an opposite opinion of basically everyone else on the internet. Everyone loves the Deep. They're calling him the Peak. He's so goated. Bro, I have wanted the Deep to get brutally manslaughtered since season 1. I fucking hate this motherfucker. Let's keep in mind that he literally tried to sexually assault fucking Starlight. Like, bro, here's the thing. That guy is so fucking weird and gay and just a faggot and weird. And I get it that they used him to make fun of Aquaman, but here's the thing. If you start paying attention, Aquaman's actually pretty badass. Aquaman is badass. He doesn't sound badass if you just describe his powers alone, but if you actually watch the DC animated universe, or if you watch Jason Momoa's Aquaman movies, especially the last one where he faced off against Black Manta. Aquaman is a fucking badass. But the Deep, he's just whiny and gay and weird. I mean, okay, so Starlight said, oh, I have a crush on you, and he heard, oh, I want your dick in my face, and instantly whipped out his cock. And now he's trying to play victim when Starlight finally had the courage to, expose him for who he truly was. Now he tries to play victim. Bitch, you fucking tried to sexually assault the bitch. If you would have acted normal for 2 more seconds, Starlight would have probably gone to you and pulled out your wanker for you and blowed you. But no, you had to be a fucking weirdo. Oh, I actually used to have a crush on you. Oh, you want my schlong? No, dude. And then when Starlight rejected him, he didn't go to find another woman, no. He went to get his little ding-dong suckled on by a fucking octopus. When have you ever seen Aquaman get his dick sucked by a fucking octopus, bro? Every single episode, especially in this new season with people dying left and right, I have been waiting for the Deep, especially because the Deep seems to be the most annoying person. He clearly annoys Homelander, yet Homelander lets him live for some reason. Bro, please fucking kill this guy in the most brutal Mortal Kombat grotesque way possible. I am fucking sick of his ass. Now, the final show that I want to cover on here is Invincible. The season just wrapped up. That was really good. Out of The Boys, Euphoria, and Invincible, I would say Invincible is my favorite show. It is graphic. It is intense. Invincible is right up my alley because Invincible has everything I like, which is basically a lot of action and a lot of, what's the word for it? I used it earlier. I don't want to say gore, but there's a lot of intensity in it. There's a lot of intense, and they do not hold back with the intensity, and I fucking love that. The only complaint that I've really seen with Invincible is that, the animation is poor quality. Bro, the animation in every single episode, I kid you not, every single episode that I have seen of Invincible, all I can think of, holy shit, this animation is so good. Like, it is top-notch, super duper good animation. I'm about to rewatch Invincible seasons 1 through 4. I'm gonna start at season 1 again. It is that good that I wanna go back and rewatch that shit. And everyone on the internet's complaining, oh, the animation quality is so bad. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? I think what it is, I think these NPCs are so used to consuming garbage that when they find treasure, they mistake the treasure for actual garbage. That has to be it. Because they hype up stupid shit. And then when something good comes out like Invincible, best animation you'll ever see in your fucking life, the animation was trash. Huh? Nigger, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Now, the 2 shows that are really good and keep me at the edge of my seat, but I will never rewatch, are The Boys and Euphoria. And the reason why I'll never rewatch them is because there's too many dicks. Okay, The Boys had a fight scene where there was this guy that can multiply himself. For some reason, it was necessary that he be naked. And for some reason, it was also necessary that they couldn't show him from the waist up. They had to show his fucking cock, multiple cocks, because he multiplies. That was the fight choreography was amazing, but fucking shit, I almost vomited. I don't think I can eat another hot dog again because I've had my fill of sausage on the TV screen. Then there was that weird spider guy who was a spoof off of Spider-Man who squirted his little cum web onto Mother Milk's face. Also weird fucking name, Mother's Milk. I never fucking liked that name. And don't even get me started with Herogasm. Jesus Christ. Or Homelander jerking off on top of a hill. Remember that when he was just flying over a hill and fucking super jerking off into the city? Yeah, that show definitely has its fair share of weird shit where it's like, this is good, this is keeping me on the edge of the seat, but I am never rewatching this shit again. It's too weird. Euphoria also has more dicks and tits for some reason. I ain't rewatching that. Remember that scene where, what was the name of that black guy who was Cassie's original boyfriend? There's literally a scene where he's having sex with Cassie, and then a whole group of guys just break into the room and anal rape him for no fucking reason and then just leave. And there's also, like, scenes when that fat bitch became a porn star and they'd show, like, fat guys masturbating with a little shrimp cock. It was just disgusting. Those scenes were so fucking unnecessary. I ain't watching that shit again. Now, Brett Cooper actually, she beat me to this whole Euphoria episode. She put out an episode this morning, which I watched, which was really good. And I was extra impressed because Cooper has admitted that she's never actually watched Euphoria. Cooper is more of a clean girl, so, like, she's got, like, the clean girl aesthetic, so it makes sense that she wouldn't watch Euphoria. But I was surprised. She gave a really, really good review, despite the fact that she's never seen the show before. I was impressed. But I guess that's what sets her apart from the competition and what makes her stick out as a podcaster. Because despite all of her failures, she is still Brett Cooper. She's also doing a review on Sydney Sweeney, which I may or may not watch because, to be honest with you, I like Sydney Sweeney as an actress. I think she's attractive, as any normal guy would. But I don't really follow her in the sense that I really want to know or care what's going on in her life. The only thing I did see something the other day, she posted a video of her new boyfriend kissing her all over her face, which is something that girls do in general that fucking pisses me off. Whenever they get a new man, they start uploading romantic videos of them holding hands and them holding each other, and then they upload these videos of the guy just kissing her over and over and over again, whether it's on all over her body or mostly her face or like her arms. That shit is so cringe. Stop that shit. No one wants to fucking see that shit. Save that shit for the fucking bedroom. Anytime I see a video of a guy just kissing his girl's face over and over again, or I see them acting like that in public, I'm like, dude, get a fucking room. No one wants to see that shit. It's not adorable. It's not cute. No one wants to see it. But all girls do that because all girls are retarded. We should honestly start treating them like the puppy dogs they are. Let's just, like, start putting women in fucking cages. Don't even give them actual dog food. Just take raccoon feces from, like, a dumpster and put it in a dog bowl and force them to eat it. Or better yet, let's start putting women in, like, concentration camps. And then we can force them to, like, fight our wars for us. You know, maybe we can make, like, some mind-controlling device because we all know women can't actually fight. And we can, like, control their minds so we can control their bodies and we can get them to go and fight, I don't know, the hantavirus. I mean, hey, women always say they want to be equal to men, which what they really mean is we want to be better than men. What better way than to put them on the fields of battle at the very front lines? Now, what was the other point I was getting at? Oh, so I don't keep up with Sydney Sweeney. I don't care what's going on in her life. Cooper does... my favorite Cooper episodes is when she covers politics. I like her ideology on politics, and I like the way she explains her political stance. But she also does get involved in celebrity culture, which I am not really a fan of celebrity gossip. I really don't care what these celebrities are doing in their personal life, whether I like their work or not. So, Cooper, I saw, uploaded another episode today about Sydney Sweeney. I may or may not watch that. I might tonight watch this movie called The Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney in it, because... So I actually don't watch a lot of shit with Sydney Sweeney in it. Now, obviously, she's in Euphoria, and she was in Madam Web, which I saw. Most of Sydney Sweeney's movies seem to be romantic movies or romantic comedies, which is not my genre at all. And me personally, because I'm not a fucking faggot or a simp, I'm not gonna watch a movie because, oh, this actress is attractive, or because, oh, my favorite actress is in it. I don't have a favorite actress. Like, all these guys, they're fucking watching romantic comedies and all this gay shit because, oh, I want to see Sweeney's tits. Just go on Pornhub. You can see all the tits you want. And you don't have to watch a single storyline that you don't like. But I might check out, see, romantic movies are so not my genre. I fucking hate romantic. I hate anything romantic. But The Housemaid, I've been seeing a lot of good reviews on it, so I might check it out. We'll see. I'm the kind of person where if I don't like the movie in the first 5 minutes, I'm shutting that shit off. I ain't got patience. Now, I recently saw the Michael Jackson movie, and that was amazing. Let's talk about it. Let me first acknowledge the critics said that the Michael Jackson movie was horrible, and I watched it and it was excellent. And I've also noticed movie critics are just plain wrong. Rotten Tomatoes, whatever other sites there are, they're just plain wrong. Because anytime they praise a movie, I end up hating it, and anytime they hate a movie, I end up really liking it. They hated the Michael Jackson movie, and it was one of the best movies I've ever seen in a long, long, long time. Now, here's another example, is the movie Anora with Mikey Madison. It came out last year or the year before that, I don't know. I watched it because I'm familiar with the actress. She played Ghostface in Scream 5. And the movie won an award, so I decided to check it out. No idea, this was my mistake. I didn't watch the trailer. I had no idea what it was about. All I heard is that it won an award, and Mikey Madison was in it, so I decided to check it out. Bro, the movie, so the whole plot of the movie is this girl Anora is a stripper at a strip club. And this Russian kid, who's as skinny as a twig, he's like super rich. Basically, he has rich parents who give him all the money he wants, and he then uses that money to like go to strip clubs and hop on video games all day, and basically he's got nothing going on with his life. He's just a spoiled, entitled brat. So he goes to the strip club, and he really likes Anora, so he starts going to see her again and again and again, and eventually asks her to marry him. And they basically set up a prostitution marriage. It wasn't like a biblical marriage or any kind of normal marriage where, you know, the two get married because they genuinely like each other and they want to help each other grow as a person. No, he marries her because he wants to show off his bitch to his friends, and he wants her to fuck him whenever he commands her to. She marries him because she's blinded by the fact that he has money, despite the fact that the guy is a clear faggot. Well, here's what happens. When this guy's parents find out that he's married, they don't approve of the marriage, and they want Anora and the guy to get a divorce. And so the entire movie is just a bunch of sex and a screaming match. Like, the whole movie, they're just screaming at each other and screaming at each other. They go to the strip club, they go to the airport, they go to the lawyer's office, they're screaming, they're screaming, they're screaming. There is no plot line whatsoever. Zero plot line. No plot line at all. And I'm like, okay, so this entire movie is basically a porno with some screaming in between. Absolute garbage. I fucking hated that movie. There was no storyline to it whatsoever. There was no fucking storyline. Bro, the second he asked her to marry her, I already knew what was going to happen. Like, you could just tell, okay, she's going to marry him because she only sees his money. And then they're going to get a divorce anyway because they're two completely different people with two completely different morals. Actually, neither one of them have fucking morals, but like, the whole plot was so predictable. There actually was no plot to the movie. The whole thing was just a circus show. And garbage. But apparently that's what Hollywood likes. That's what the so-called normies like. They like garbage. That's why when they see peak like Invincible, the animation was trash. It's so cheap. And everyone's a porn addict these days, so it would make sense that they give an award to a movie that is in fact just theatrical porn. With no storyline, no motive, no lesson, no nothing. Just an empty plot with porn and screaming. Now back to the Michael Jackson movie. Michael Jackson is actually one of my favorite music artists. He's very different from what I usually listen to. I usually listen to metal and rock music. Now, when it comes to music from the 80s, 90s era, I really don't listen to any of it unless it's like rock music like Guns N' Roses or AC/DC. But Michael Jackson produces music that's so unique and so high quality and so good that I actually enjoy listening to it. The song Thriller is one of the best songs, if not the best song ever made. And a big reason why I like Thriller so much is because everyone knows I'm into horror shit. And if you pay attention to the lyrics of the Thriller song, it literally describes exactly how horror feels and how horror should be, and like he nails it on the dot. And think about it, Thriller is how many decades old, and it is still. Go on Spotify right now and look up any Halloween playlist, and Thriller is right there at the fucking top. And the music video for Thriller is the best music video ever made. Now, I already kind of knew the story before watching the movie because I had done my fair share of research into the movie, but I really liked it. The music was on point. This is a crazy thing, especially when they showed Thriller on the big screen, but there were other songs too, such as Billie Jean and Beat It and Bad. Michael is played by his nephew, Jafar Jackson, in this movie. And they are parallels of each other. I mean, Jafar Jackson looks exactly like a young Michael Jackson. And if you pay attention to the parts where they're replicating the music videos, like, I kid you not, if you were to put the two of them side by side, you can't tell the fucking difference. It's amazing. I don't know how the fuck they pulled it off, but it was absolutely mesmerizing. And it seems that people's number one complaint with this is that it felt short. Well, the reason why it felt short and the reason why it was just too much to fit it all in one movie. So they're gonna make a second one, possibly even more, which I am really looking forward to. We need another Michael Jackson movie because that last one was fire. I just hope that they put in the same amount of time and care and effort as they did into this masterpiece. Now, Michael Jackson had an abusive father growing up, and they portrayed that on the big screen as well. And I found myself actually relating to it, which I did not expect at all. Now, I didn't have a father that was physically abusive, but he was, some would say, emotionally abusive, if you want to believe such a thing exists. But the way Michael Jackson's father acted, and the way my father acted with me, minus the whole belt whooping scene, they're exactly the same person. Like, I'm watching Michael and his father interact, and I was like, holy shit, like, I'm basically watching my own father on the big screen, the way he's bossy, the way he's unfair, the way he takes credit for your work. Like, the way, whenever Michael Jackson had success, his dad would always say, yeah, I made him that. Yeah, I made him do that. And then whenever Michael was like, no, like, I did this. I worked hard. I was the one who, put myself out there. And then his dad was like, oh, you ungrateful little shit. Not his exact word, but you get what I'm saying. And my parents were the same way. Whenever I did something, whenever I accomplished something for myself, whenever I got praised for something I did, my parents would always be like, yeah, make sure you let people know that it's all thank you to your parents. And I'm like, well, I don't need to give you credit for absolutely everything that I do. Like, this is something that I did myself. You had no involvement with it. We raised you. We taught you these disciplines. We this, we that. We deserve credit as well. Fucking annoying, dude. And then, another thing that I found really relatable, too, is how it was very difficult for Michael to cut off his father, because this is something that I experienced with my father as well. Michael clearly wants to cut ties with his father and doesn't want anything to do with his father, but he's having a very hard time doing so because, it's his dad. And so he tends to get quiet around his dad. He just doesn't talk to his dad. And, like, for example, that one scene in the kitchen where Michael's getting a snack and he gets confronted by his father and Michael just kind of just quiet down and tries to leave the room. Bro, I started getting flashbacks. Like, I saw myself because I've been in that exact situation before. And then when Michael finally cuts off his dad at the end of the movie, his dad acted like he had done nothing wrong. He's like, wait, why doesn't my son want to talk to me? What did I do? I'm the reason for your success. My dad was the same way, dude. Like, I kid you not. Seeing it on the big screen, like, I always knew that Michael had a rough relationship with his father, but I guess it's different just reading about it on, like, Wikipedia versus, or hearing about it in a documentary versus actually seeing it played out on screen. When I saw that, bro, I kid you not, that movie gave me fucking flashbacks. It, like, perfectly described the dynamic between me and my father, which the very last thing that I expected watching the Michael Jackson movie was to actually relate to Michael Jackson. That was something else. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. This is the Adonis Podcast.